Hi and very welcome. My name is Mary. This is my channel Lumi Level Up and I'm a luxury lover on an average income trying to be more mindful with my money. Currently I'm in LA. Well, probably you cannot tell by that backdrop, and today we are going to check out the Melrose Trading Post flea market, which takes place every Sunday, and I'm super curious to see how it is compared to German flea markets. I don't think that I will find a lot of bargains because I think it will be very commercial, but I want to try it out definitely, and I'm very curious to see. There is a free parking spot. We are currently trying to figure out how to get there. It's 3 hours of free parking and you have to pay for the flea market itself. It's $6 plus $2 for some kind of additional fee, so $8 in total, so that you are allowed to check out that flea market. Let's see if it's worth it, because the flea markets I visit in Germany, they are usually completely free, most of them. There are a few where you pay to get inside, but it's usually only €2 maybe. So yeah, very curious.
This was the very first sales booth right next to the entrance, and as I already expected it seemed quite professional because everyone had these little tents, and I'm not sure if all of these sellers are so professional that they even got their own tents or if the organizers gave them to them kind of as part of the setup. Stock-wise, we started off quite strong because it didn't take long until I spotted my very first Coach bag at that flea market. It was a beautiful Coach court bag in a stunning cognac brown. The condition was very good for such a vintage bag. It even still came with the Coach hand tag and the matching shoulder strap, but the price point was quite high with $120. At least I think that's a lot for a flea market bag, but maybe I'm just spoiled. This one was giving Gucci Jackie vibes, but wasn't a Gucci bag. At the same sales booth, they had a little Coach sequin wristlet as well for a price point of $30, and they even had a vintage Fendi sunglasses case, which unfortunately was very used. The price point of that one was $25. Since the shoes were not my size, I didn't even ask for the price. Jeffrey Campbell ones and even a pair of Salvatore Ferragamo flats. I'm very certain this Wild Tiger is an exact dupe of a Gucci skirt that does exist, but not really my style. Here you get a little impression of my outfit of the day. I was wearing my Fendi roll tote, which is something I usually would not recommend because wearing visibly designer logos might hike up the prices, but this time I was on vacation, I was in LA, and I did not really care. And excuse my bra showing up under my cropped top. A sales booth that looked very promising because they had a Gucci dust bag was this one, but when we arrived there was no seller in sight, and even when we left nearly 2 hours later they still hadn't unpacked anything. I couldn't resist a digging table with watches, $10 each, but I'm quite sure that they looked through all of them beforehand to make sure they don't sell a precious watch for $10. I did find a Dooney & Bourke watch band though, but I'm not sure if it was authentic and if the condition was still the very best, and I'm not into the brand that much anyways, so I left it behind. But maybe that would have been a gem for somebody to be found. These cute Smurf glasses sparked some joy because the Smurfs were a big part of my childhood. Let me know in the comments if you know them and if you played with their figurines as well. This sales booth is giving quite a good impression how a lot of the booths looked like. Fast fashion items mixed with some vintage pieces, Y2K looks. I spotted a Kelly dupe that I gave a closer look, but already from the very first impression it was obvious that it's not an Hermes bag, and I spotted a Bottega Veneta bag dupe, which the price tag had me in shock because it said it had a regular retail of $1,100 and was on sale for $325. The flea market price ended up being just $80, but come on, who are you trying to fool? Hidden between a bag that had slight Versace vibes and a Dior saddlebag inspired bag, I found some authentic vintage gems by Dooney & Bourke, for example. This one was $30. They had a Coach bag for $45, which was not exactly my style, and this Dooney & Bourke bag was $45 as well. Another Coach Y2K bag with the logo print all over was $40 in satin. Let me know in the comments where you live and if the flea markets in your area area are like that as well, because it is quite different than I'm used to in Germany, and I have to admit I prefer when private people sell their own stuff and it's not that commercial like a business. Even though there was offered a lot of shoes, clothing and accessories, it's not the same when someone sells a random selection of these items for a profit that the seller themselves probably got donated or bought for cheap at a thrift store, than when private people just want to sell their own stuff they are not using anymore. Do these private people kind of flea markets take place in the US as well, and I just visited the wrong spot? Or do all of your flea markets in the US have that kind of reseller commercial vibe? I'm not saying that you cannot find some vintage gems or some bargains even, like these bags for $10 if you like them, it's a great price. But I think overall you have to be way more lucky and probably have to pay a little bit more than I'm used to at the flea market as well. That seller had a selection of Dooney and Bourke bags as well, which sold between $40 to $60 depending on the size of the bag. Another sales booth that was very obviously commercial because all of it were new pieces, still with tags. It was a cute selection, but it's just not what I'm looking for when I want to go vintage treasure hunting. Now that mesh sequin bodysuit is what I would call a flea market treasure. I'm not sure if it's actually vintage or if it's just giving 80s vibes, but definitely a very special piece. Didn't ask for the price though. I guess it was a lot. The next sales booth definitely was my favorite, not just because they had 2 Louis Vuitton wallets and a Chloé bag, but mainly because these were actually the items of the sellers. It were 2 ladies, I guess it was a mother and a daughter, and they were very beautiful, very LA. The daughter was wearing Hermès Chypre sandals, and the funny thing here is not even these 2 were there to sell their personal items. They had a lot of brand new linen clothing and some shells and this Californian boho vibes items. So I guess they might even have a little boutique in LA. Unfortunately, I forgot to film the main part of their sales booth, which was these brand new boho style stuff. And they just put out a few of their personal items that they didn't use anymore. The Louis Vuitton Empreinte leather wallets were $300 each, and the Chloé Marcy bag was $220. It did show some slight signs of use, but if you were on the hunt for such a bag, I think the price was not too bad.
I bought my first item, which would have been a great bargain, but the lady didn't have any change, so I had to pick a necklace to match the amount, and now it's still a great bargain, but not as good as it used to be.
When I spotted that vintage Gucci bag, my heart skipped a beat, because it was a sales booth with a lot of bags, and I thought there might be the tiny possibility that the seller doesn't know what he has there, considering all of these other vintage bags. Unfortunately, he still asked for $180, and the condition was not the very best anymore. You cannot really tell on that footage, but the leather parts were very dry. Obviously, I had to know what else this seller had, and he even had another Gucci bag. For this one, he asked $300, which, well, he said it is nearly brand new condition. Yet again, you cannot see it on the footage, but there were some major signs of wear, and I think $300 at the flea market was a stretch for that one. I am very certain that both of those Gucci bags were authentic. That's as well why I got super excited when I spotted that Chanel wallet on a chain. Unfortunately, I spotted more and more Chanel bags, and it turned out quite quickly that none of them was authentic. I'm really not sure about that Damier Ebene Neverfull, because they get faked so much, and that seller obviously had some fake items, maybe some authentic ones, but I didn't trust him anymore at this point, because look at that Chanel one. From the outside, not too bad, except very bad condition, but from the inside, no way. Maybe I should have asked for the price point on those Chanel bags just to get a feeling what he thought of them and how he would price them compared to the Gucci bags, of which I'm very certain because I have quite some experience with those kind of Gucci bags. I'm not that much of an expert on vintage Chanel, but this interior just doesn't look right for me for a walk. There was one booth that sold clocks made out of books, and I think that seller is at that flea market more often because I saw his work on the Instagram page of the flea market as well. Spotted 70s vibes Prada slingback pumps. They were $150, which I think if it's your size and you fall in love with the design, it's a price you can pay for preloved luxury shoes. You probably would pay more on a preloved platform like Vestiaire Matière Collective, the condition was still very good. So I think if you fall in love, okay, but for me it would be too much to spend at the flea market. More Coach bags. The canvas one was $50 and the vernis patent leather one was even $80. So yet again, quite high flea market prices here. The next seller had a whole selection of luxury bags, but somehow I was not vibing with that lady, mainly because that Louis Vuitton bag was giving me fake vibes. I don't know that kind of vintage bags, and I personally would say that I know most of the older Louis Vuitton styles, so I'm not sure. If you know if that bag ever actually existed, definitely share it down in the comments. Just because one of the items you sell is fake does not necessarily mean everything is fake, but it does not give the very best look if you put up a fake bag next to your other bags. So I didn't even ask for any prices. The next booth again had several Dooney and Burke bags. I think if you're in the market for vintage Dooney or Coach, this LA Melrose Place flea market might be for you, because there definitely were several of those bags. A booth I wanted to share because it was giving me Polo Ralph Lauren Bear vibes. They had pants and jackets, but it was not the real deal, it was just a lookalike. The Trading Post flea market has a little food court as well, and a place where you could do sports and Pilates, so you could spend hours there and make this your little day activity. A funny style for pet accessories. Sometimes I wonder how they can put out stuff like that without getting in legal trouble, because obviously this is not a real Prada dog costume. It was $32 in case you're interested in. I spotted another Dooney and Burke bag, a big Florentine satchel. This one was still $80. The small Coach bag was $50. The pink Coach was $40 and a pink Dooney and Burke bag was $40 as well. Really liked that pastel yellow Lacoste cardigan for hubby. It was $40, which I wouldn't pay in Germany at the flea market, but I think it is worth it. But unfortunately it was a tad too small for him, otherwise we would have considered it. Yep, and more Dooney. This bag was in excellent condition. The price point was $45, and if I would like the brand, I might have considered this one, because it actually looked brand new. There was a stall with interesting prints and artworks, like this Louis Vuitton one even included an actual briefcase. Isn't this interesting? And they had quite some prints that were playing with designer names and designer logos, like this Hermes Birkin bag print. I'm always somewhat skeptical how this works with copyright, but it seems to work. Another moment when my heart skipped a beat was when I spotted this Louis Vuitton Cabermezzo vintage bag, because I'm very sure it was authentic. The price point was $250, which I think for the US market is a great price point. The condition was not the very best anymore, and I already have more than enough Louis Vuitton monogram bags, but I can absolutely see someone falling madly in love with this bag and scoring a good deal on it. I thought it would be fun to get cowboy boots in the US, but unfortunately none of them were my size, and probably most of the resellers would ask for more than I would be willing to pay for having fun with a pair of cowboy boots. Overall, it was a fun activity to check out that flea market and stroll over it, but I do not love this place. But I know that I'm very spoiled with my German flea markets with mainly private sellers.
It was exactly the way I expected it. Everything quite overpriced, if I may say so, and no private people selling their stuff. All of them seemed like resellers. So obviously they want to earn some bucks, and that's why you cannot score the most amazing deals, because they picked everything up at thrift stores themselves as most amazing deals and now sell it on for more. So it was fun to stroll through, but nah, not for me. And because I probably will forget to film the haul, here it is right away. I bought a little Zimmerman passport cover. It would have been just $5, but unfortunately the lady did not have any change, so I gave her a $10 bill, and I was allowed to pick a little necklace that I gave to hubby. Maybe I'll insert it later on, because he's currently getting our car back. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you next time, and bye!